Well, I'm sure this is not exactly a usual place for anyone to film their show, but you know, I couldn't exactly come up with a better place than this. So this is how it's gonna go, and this is the way it's gonna be. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the another great episode of the Main Event Talk. And this week I was supposed to have scheduled the second anniversary of the Main Event Talk, and I have not had the opportunity to do it because of certain formalities and everything else of that nature. Now, some of you guys probably already know about my situation and everything, and I haven't been able to explain anything to anybody on the Main Event Talk. But there's going to be a point and there's going to be a time real soon when I tell you exactly what that situation is. There's actually two particular situations. One that involves me and another that involves someone very, very close to me. That's all you have to know at this point. It's kind of personal, and I really don't want to mention it just yet. I just want to take the time and the place to do it when I have the opportunity. So, once again, I'm here. Main Event Talk has arrived, and there's a few things we need to talk about. The second anniversary will happen very, very soon. As a matter of fact, the second anniversary, I said someone's going to be famous, and that person is. Now, even though he probably thinks let's make that clear, he thinks that I'm probably not thinking about him right now, but I am. And don't worry, you're going to be famous. I'm going to make you famous. I'm going to make you look good somehow, in many ways possible. Okay? Don't worry. Because you see, the second anniversary is going to be a part 1, part 2, part 3 series. The first part has a lot to do with what I'm talking about. The second, I have not had an opportunity to think about where the second part will take place. I'm hoping for one time only, if it happens, to have the Main Event Talk take place at Theo's Billiards. It's a big shot, but we'll see what happens. And the third and final part, well, I'll film that somewhere in Corpus Christi. I'm not sure where exactly, but I'll figure out what I need to do. So don't worry. The second anniversary of the Main Event Talk is coming. A part 1, part 2, part 3 series. The season finale, that's what's going to happen. And then after the whole part 1, part 3 thing and everything else like that, the Main Event Talk and the Main Event Thoughts will not be continuing on in 2013, but it will elevate in 2014. So expect that to happen next year. Can't wait. Now, let's talk about Raw. Well, before we talk about Raw, we want to talk about TNA wrestling for a moment. Now, most of you guys have probably heard about the recent purchase of TNA. TNA is up for sale right now. So a lot of people are curious about who's going to buy it and why. Eric Bischoff's name has been mentioned. Let's see, Vince McMahon in the WWE obviously have been mentioned. Jeff Jarrett. And even, believe it or not, Billy, I believe his name is Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins, the lead singer and the guitarist. He's actually thinking about purchasing TNA Wrestling. Now, well, he's a wrestling fan, obviously. He likes TNA. And if anybody remembers the Smashing Pumpkins, I mean, everybody remembers them for songs like Tonight and I think their album. I'm not the biggest Smashing Pumpkins guy in the world, but their music is pretty good. I've heard it on the radio and everything else like that. But the one song I know quite well is the theme song that they did for Bound for Glory 2008. That one was a pretty good one, so I really enjoyed that. So let me get this out of the way. The purchase of TNA Wrestling. TNA Wrestling is up for sale, and whoever is going to buy it, it's ridiculous, the people that I'm hearing that are going to purchase the company. And I'll tell you something, someone had asked me, what happens if, say, if you were to buy TNA from it? Well, I'll give you my thought on that, so let me kind of express my thought about what's happening as far as TNA goes. The purchase of the company, whoever buys it, I'm hoping Jeff Jarrett will be the one to buy it, and I'm hoping Jeff Jarrett will be the one to straighten all the mess that's going on in TNA Wrestling. Let's be honest, there's a lot that needs to be, fixed as far as TNA wrestling goes. Now, also, I also heard that Jim Ross's name has been mentioned on numerous occasions. Now, Jim Ross, to me, one of the greatest wrestling announcers of all time, WWE Hall of Famer, and has a real thirst for knowledge when it comes to the professional wrestling company. A lot of people feel that if Jim Ross were to ever own TNA, he could probably fix it, but I think I read a little quote that Jim Ross had said something about how do you fix a company that is beyond fixing? And I agree with that. I mean, after all, if in many ways possible, I mean, TNA wrestling has had some trouble since 2010, and I'll admit that's when it all pretty much fucked up from there. 2010 all the way to right now. And even though 2012 and 2011 were kind of the years that TNA was kind of developing and kind of coming up in a way possible, it's still messed up in every way possible. I mean, let's look at the examples here, for instance. The fact that Hogan came in and brought in certain particular superstars that don't even belong in this company. Number two, the fact that there were certain particular celebrities that have nothing to do with professional wrestling and nobody wants any part of it. Number three, the release of certain particular talent that don't deserve to be shafted or released in any way possible. Let's see. The list, I mean, there's a list a mile long that are no longer with TNA. Mickey James is one. Tara is another. Crimson is another. Jesse Sorson, who's also in Ring of Honor right now. And I heard he did pretty good for himself over there. And, you know, why they released him, I still don't know to this day why they released him. Let's see. There's a list of talent that, you know, to me, should have never have left. Should have stayed with TNA and should have found a way to keep the company going all the way to where it's supposed to be at right now. But you got superstars in there in TNA that to me still deserve to be in the company. Jeff Hardy, he deserves to be in the company. Austin Aries deserves to be in the company. James Storm, Robert Roode, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Magnus, members of the Aces and Eights, some members of the Aces and Eights, Bully Ray, and to me, I think this is the one person I feel that should just leave TNA. And I don't think he's the one that's causing any of the problems that TNA is having, but I feel that it has to happen one way or another. And a lot of people are begging for this man to leave TNA and go to the WWE. And you and I both know who it is. It's Sting. For a long, long time, the Stinger has always been a part of WCW. He was the franchise of that company. And then after the whole thing with TNA, with the whole thing with the purchase of WCW and ECW, Sting would move on, and he wanted nothing to do with the WWE. And then Sting would go on to go to TNA and basically go with that company in every way possible. And even though Sting is a TNA Hall of Famer, a lot of people feel that it's about time for Sting to leave the company and head over to the WWE, because that's what every fan around the world wants to see. Now, even though Sting is a very, very smart man, and let's be honest, he is a smart man, because otherwise he would have been in WWE a long time ago. He wanted nothing to do with the company because of the policies and because of the way they mistreat talent. And it's true, WWE has mistreated several talents that could have been big stars, but have elevated themselves into something huge, and then they all of a sudden crash and burn because of certain particular stupid things that the WWE has done with them. Sting, on the other hand, is a legend. Sting is a multi-world heavyweight champion. He has faced off many of the greatest wrestlers, from Ric Flair to Hulk Hogan to Kurt Angle to Samoa Joe and many others. And it would be great to see Sting leave TNA and go to the WWE. But is it going to happen? I don't know. Personally, I hope it does. I hope it really does. Now, speaking of Sting, and speaking of the Main Event Mafia, to me, the Main Event Mafia being disbanded is the best move that's ever happened, because each and every one of those guys, from Joe to Angle to Magnus, have their own personal agendas, and they need to work that out. Now, let's also look upon the mistake. Not the mistake of the Main Event Mafia, but the mistake of the Aces and Eights. Now, to me, the Aces and Eights should have been done a long time ago. But whatever moron, whatever idiot decided to keep the Aces and Eights on TNA Wrestling, He's got to be the dumbest moron I've ever seen. To me, it would have been great to see Bully Ray go down. It would have been great to see the Aces and Eights go down. It would have been great to see this company or this group, the club, if you will, of Aces and Eights, go down. Because let's be honest, it's a joke. Aces and Eights were a very powerful group at the very beginning of this whole genre from 1 year ago. They were powerful, they were great, and they had everything to do with the company. But now, Aces and Eights have just become a joke. So in my opinion, I hope soon, sometime soon at the end of 2013, that we see the end of Aces and Eights. No more. We don't need this anymore. Aces and Eights are done. Bischoff, Garrett Bischoff, and Nux, they need to do something better with their careers. I mean, they're a formal tag team. They might as well go ahead and go after the tag team titles. And Bully Ray, my opinion, this is my opinion only. I think a lot of people will disagree upon this, but I think Bully Ray should take some time away from the sport, just for a while. Not a long time, maybe until 2014, because to me, Bully Ray has accomplished everything he needed to do, but there is a lot more he needs to do in his career. So Bully Ray, to me, has got to go, and not only does he got to go, he's got to stay away from the company and possibly come back to TNA, hopefully, if it's still in business. Now, with that being said, I want to bring up this one thought about what my thoughts are about the purchase of TNA if I were to ever buy it. But before I do that, let's talk about Raw. Let's talk about what happened at Hell in a Cell. Let's talk about what's coming up at Survivor Series. You know about the things that have been going on. Big Show's got his job back, and he has an opportunity to go after Randy Orton at Survivor Series for the WWE Championship. That's what a lot of people are seeing. Now, the whole thing at Hell in a Cell, obviously we know what happened. Shawn Michaels practically screwed Daniel Bryan out of the WWE Championship. And then Shawn Michaels tried to basically say something to Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan wanted nothing to do with it. And he goes ahead, puts the yes lock on. And to a lot of people, they say he disrespected Shawn Michaels. To me, Shawn Michaels had it coming. You know? I love Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels is a great athlete. He's great at what he does. And he's also being Shawn Michaels, which a lot of people don't understand. I mean, you can boo the man for what he did, but hey, it's what he does. What do you expect? You know? Get over it. And then the attack on the Wyatt family. The Wyatt family attacking Daniel Bryan first, and then attacking CM Punk, who also had his match at Hell in a Cell with Paul Heyman and Ryback. And then I'm starting to hear a bunch of stuff about Ryback. The heat with Ryback, he's not doing so well. Nobody wants to perform with him in any way possible, which is not a big surprise and everything, but a lot of people are actually pushing Ryback to go after Goldberg at WrestleMania 30, which the big rumor that's going on is Goldberg could show up at WrestleMania 30, which hopefully, in my opinion, and the opinions of many others, Goldberg versus Ryback at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans, Louisiana, hey, that should be awesome to watch. The Ryback versus Goldberg, the human wrecking ball, as they call Ryback, against the true Cyborg. I call him the true Cyborg for many reasons, okay? Now, let me continue on. The whole thing with CM Punk and Paul Heyman came to an end, but the Wyatts would go ahead and attack CM Punk. And nobody has any clue as to why the Wyatts are attacking both Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. Well, here's the thing, though. And then this is the easiest thing to look at. When you have two of the hottest superstars in the WWE today, besides John Cena, when you have two of the hottest superstars in the WWE, that's who you have to target at. Because Daniel Bryan and CM Punk are unquestionably two of the hottest WWE superstars going today, and the Wyatt family is a hot trio that's going on right now, and a lot of people are saying that the Shield could possibly break up soon, which I hope it doesn't happen, but just from the looks of it and everything, it could happen. So expect that to happen in the near future. The Shield could possibly break up this year in 2013, but the Wyatt family right now, they have their sights set on both Daniel Bryan and CM Punk.